This is a video about Google. We're going to talk about the value that Google brings and the strategy we like to deploy when we're using it. Google is the biggest search engine in the world, not comparable at all by any of the other search engines out there. And as a result of that, we get to use it to our advantage when we're trying to convert for any type of brand, because no matter what, people are going to go to search engine to try and find answers to questions. And if we know how to buy traffic on it throughout all the suite of service offerings that they have, Google Search, Display, YouTube, and Shopping, then we can do a really good job of having a nice dynamic strategy for clients. Google is a unique platform in the way that it scales and optimizes. It's very consistent long term, but can be challenging to make sure you get to the place of consistent profitability. And even when you do, it's ever changing. So it's not the easiest platform to optimize. It is part of a holistic strategy. In the other video about Facebook, we talked about the dynamic between creating awareness on Facebook and then kind of reaping the benefits of that awareness on Google. And it works really well for a lot of different reasons, but the main reason is that when someone's looking for something specifically, you get an opportunity to display that something in front of them when they're looking for it. So the conversion rate, technically speaking, should be pretty good if you're showing them the right product at the right time. If I find a product on Facebook, I'm interested in it, and I'm not quite ready to buy because I'm not sure if $50 is the right dollar amount for that particular product, where might I go to find more information to help me make my decision? It's probably not Facebook. It's likely Google that I'm going to go search for the best X wallet that I can find to buy and research other brands there. And if you've done a proper job on Facebook of creating interest and awareness, Google, that gives you a leg up on the competition on Google, not just because you can pay more, but because you're fighting competitors with an advantage of awareness. You can get very targeted on Google. There's audiences, locations, there's budgets, there's RLSAs, there's keywords, there's all kinds of dynamic retargeting, there's all kinds of ad placements and ways to target. But the main real main bread-winning strategies for Google are keywords, and search terms are different than keywords, but it's basically the same. Keywords are what you in search choose to buy traffic on, and search terms are what people actually type in. Those are the main strategies, unless of course you're on Google, and then there's placements. But even placements are hard to optimize because it's based on user behavior, and the person who's looking to fix a dry hole in their drywall and instructions on how to do that 1 minute might then the next minute go look to find out 50 Cent's music video that they wanted to watch. So it's not the placements aren't exactly one for one like that. It's important to remember that Google has so much data based on your activities. It's an incredibly sophisticated algorithm, but they know everything that you've looked for. They know what pages you've been on and how long you've been on them, what you've engaged it with, what you've clicked on, if they're bucketing you, like they've determined that you are ready to buy something in the process, they'll put you in an in-market audience. And I can buy traffic on in-market audiences because you're in the market to buy. There's a lot of different ways that you can buy traffic on Google, and more often than not, things aren't set up properly, they're not being tested, and there's opportunity that we can point out. Once you have a GCLID, a Google Click ID, Google is not going to let that go. We talk to Google reps and they tell us that once you got a GCLID, like, we're never going to let you go. We'll know everything about you forever. And regardless of what the privacy laws tell us, that seems to be the case, because ad placements get more and more accurate the more you're on Google. But when you talk to brands, they think that their placement in Google search is being top of page in first position is the most important sometimes. And that's not really how Google works. It's not about, if you're going to try and scale Google, or you're going to try and make Google profitable, You need to have understanding of what your click costs are, because it's expensive clicks, and you need to understand your conversion rate. And then you can like reverse engineer where you can place on Google as appropriate for you. So since it's an open bid auction platform, and within the 100th of a second, they're making a determination about who wins based on what they're willing to spend and what position they're going to be placed in based on that. So if I am wanting to be in the first position on page 1, I might have to pay, and everyone else that I'm competing with is willing to pay $3 a click. Well, I'm going to bid $5 a click, and I'm going to end up paying $3.01 to place at the top of the page. Whereas I know, as we discussed, that the job of advertising is to get traffic to the website, and the job of the website is to convert the traffic. So if I am in a situation where I'm trying to drive traffic to a website, and the website has a specific conversion rate, and the keywords I'm bidding on haven't changed, it's just whether I'm paying more, that $3.01, or I'm willing to be in position 3 for $1.75. Technically speaking, that's the exact same keyword, and I would argue that the people that click on the third ad are no more motivated or less motivated to buy that particular product or service than the people that click on the very first position. It might be that they just didn't read further down. You're still above the fold. So for us, it's not about being in first position, top of page. It's about making sure that your bids are appropriate according to what you can spend on ads and be profitable. It all ties back to the conversion rate. You might need to be in position 3 because that makes you profitable, and it allows you to add some more keywords and display more, as opposed to spending all your money on first position top of page. It's not as relevant as you think, and that's not how you scale. Some people think that because Google is so big, you can just turn the bids up, spend more. That's not the way it works. Google works by adding more keywords into your strategy, as an example for search. So if I'm in the process of trying to increase the budgets on Google, if I was on Facebook and yeah, buddy.
Done.
Sorry, buddy, I got to do this, okay?
After the park, I go into karate.
I can't wait. I'm going to be there, okay?
Okay.
So if I am in the process of trying to increase my bids or increase my spend on Google, unlike Facebook, where I could just take the budget from $1,000 a day to $5,000 a day. Yes, I go back into learning, but ultimately I can do that, and it's going to spend without really thinking about it. Google, on the other hand, you can't just take the bids from $1.75 to $3, because it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to have any more spend. It might just mean that you're going to pay more for the same amount of clicks, because Google isn't creating demand the same way that Facebook might be creating interest. Google is reacting to what people have typed in. It's just showing answers to questions. It's showing products when people are searching for them. But if people are not searching for them, you can't force people to search for something, right? So you're just going to be paying more for the same impressions and the same people that are searching. So the limitations with Google are defined by the number of people searching for a specific term or answer to the question, and the way that you expand the number of people that are searching, that you're displaying for, is by expanding your list of keywords. You have to have more keywords that are in your campaigns, because that brings in more searches, more people that are interested, more search terms, more people wondering how to find a product or find a solution for their problem. It's not turning bids up. So let's say I have a Google campaign that I want to set up, and I'm going to work to get it going and get it scaled up. I might put 100 keywords, 150 keywords into the first campaign. And of those keywords, let's say 50 of them, let's say it's 150 keywords, and let's say 50 of them actually convert. Well, I had to spend on all 150 to make the determination that the other 100 do not work. And then I move them either into a different campaign with lower bids, or I put them into the negative keyword list and stop bidding on them. But I now know that 50 keywords convert. and successfully, profitably probably. So the problem here though in scaling is that I had to spend on all 150 keywords to find out the 50 that work. And if I want to grow, I have to find another 150 to add in and test. And of those new 150, 50 of them are probably going to work. So now I have 100 total keywords that I've got secured that I'm bidding on, but I had to spend on 200 more keywords that did not work. So when you're looking at a keyword, when you're looking at the CPA overall, it might look rather ugly because, well, wow, why is my CPA $50? Well, it's really not like that, because if you look at the enabled campaigns and what's actively running, removing everything that didn't convert, well, your CPA is really this, and that's what we're moving forward on. So if you want to scale Google, you have to expand, add more keywords, because you're getting more searches, right? We just talked about getting more potential people that are interested in finding a solution to the problem, different ways of phrasing it, new acronyms that might be applying that we didn't think applied, and then trimming the fat, and then expanding and trimming and expanding and trimming it. But at the end of the day, you've got where you started with 50 keywords and you've done the expansion contraction, and now the group of keywords that work is, you know, that big, and it's 300 or something like that, and you know that they work. Display is a platform that can be text and image based. You know, most people think that display is not a great conversion engine. We've had it convert really well on some brands and do a decent job on others. If it's not a one-for-one conversion tool for a lot of brands, we'll definitely use it for awareness. Some brands do really well with this. It's rather affordable engagements, view-throughs, and you know, you can keep in front of people, and top of mind means tip of wallet. So I want to make sure that my brand is in front of them every chance I get. Display is really good for that. It doesn't have to have an overwhelming proportion of the ad spend, but it is important as a retargeting component at any dollar amount throughout the day, even if people never click on it, just to be able to have them see the image of your brand is very important. It does cause brand lift, and it's part of the customer journey. YouTube is a interesting ad platform. There's many different ad units in YouTube. There's in-stream, there's display on the side. You can do YouTube for shopping. A lot of different places that you can display ads on YouTube, and it's very, very effective for the right brands. You know, one of the challenges, the barrier to entry on YouTube is not the traffic and ability to, you know, it's not overly expensive. There's plenty of ad space available. There's plenty of plenty of traffic to be bought on YouTube, infinite, I would argue. The barriers to entry is the content. There are challenges with the type of content. It needs to be extremely entertaining, and it's because of the way that YouTube ads are interrupting people. I've gone to YouTube to figure out how to repair my drywall, this hole in my drywall, not learn about your soap company. So I'm interrupting them. In order to watch your video about how to fix the drywall, I've got to watch this video about soap for 5 seconds. Now, if I've made this soap video entertaining enough, I can keep their attention for 10 or 30 seconds. And I don't pay for views until it hits 30 seconds on in-stream as an example, but YouTube counts them at 10 seconds. So that means I can get people to watch for 25 or 6 seconds and not pay anything. Now, if my video is entertaining, they may even watch the entire thing when they meant to go watch their solution for their drywall situation. That's really great advertising and ideal. The costs for YouTube ads are very low, but there's problems with the conversion tracking. If you think logically about you, the way you actively engage with YouTube, it's less often that you're going to watch a YouTube ad and click on it because you're that interested to get to the website. It's much more likely that you're going to watch the video and then get back to watching the drywall thing, the solution for repairing the hole in your wall. Now that doesn't mean they won't be pixeled that they watched a certain amount of the video and get it back into an audience for retargeting. They will, but the problem is the conversion tracking. I need them to watch the video and click on it and then buy right then, because it's with last click attribution. So there's big challenges in trying to define how much revenue is coming from YouTube. Sometimes we'll even create a separate ad account just for YouTube so that there's no other engagements in the ecosystem except for on that one ad account there's YouTube, and everything else can be in the other account, so that conversions are double firing on both ad accounts. So if I watch a YouTube video and then I go to Google search and I type the concept in and I click on an ad for the same company and then I buy, Google search is going to get credit for that ad because that was the last engagement, not YouTube. Whereas if I have a separate ad account, that conversion will fire on that ad account. It's not something we do all the time, but it is an option that we can bring up, and sometimes we'll present that when we're being creative in audits to show ways of getting optimization to be even better. Because if most people aren't going to click on the ad and then buy, we need to have some sort of attribution to determine that YouTube is justifying the spend. And that's one strategy to do it. YouTube is an awareness engine, much like Facebook. It's not the same as Facebook in that it's true interruption advertising, but it can still be very effective at getting your brand in front of people with more information. It's video, so you can say your story, create interest, fascinate them, and then get them on their way back to whatever they were doing. It's very similar in that way, but Facebook has a better conversion power because people are likely to click on a Facebook ad in a way that they're unlikely for some reason to click on a YouTube ad. It's just not part of the behavior because I'm interrupting them. On Facebook, I'm just there to be entertained, so I'm likely to click through and continue to be entertained by the website. On YouTube, I was there to solve a problem or get a question answered, not to watch your soap video. So it's different that way. Google Shopping is very powerful. It is actually the opposite of Google Search, though, in that you don't enter keywords when you're optimizing the account. What you do is you react to search terms. Then that's what people type in. So when people type something in, Google's going to decide if that's a qualified person to send my ad to, and then display the ad. As the media buyer, we react to these search terms and say, that doesn't make any sense, I don't need to display for that. And then we add them to the negative keyword list and remove them. So, for example, we would have a branded shopping campaign where we'd have a lot of branded terms in there, misspellings and correct spellings alike. And then specifically exclude all the branded terms from another shopping campaign so that we don't display for any branded terms along with any other unqualified keywords that we want to make sure are removed from that specific campaign. It's extremely effective for generating new keywords that work because our keyword efforts on search are limited by our own brains. There's softwares that help too, but you just think logically about what kind of things people are going to type in when they're looking for your product, and you put those in as keywords. Maybe I'm oversimplifying the process of keyword research, but that's more or less a good way to describe it. And with Google Shopping, since you're not choosing the keywords, you're reacting to what people type in. Oftentimes you'll see search terms come in that convert that you would never have thought of. It could be acronyms, it could be anything. So you can then take that keyword and put it into search, because shopping and search do not compete. When you Google search something like thin wallets again, you might see a row of shopping ads, and then underneath that, the search ads. Those ad units do not compete with each other. So you get to kind of double dip on as far as impressions go there. And you can lean into both of those platforms to determine which keywords are best to be buying traffic on, or which ones need to be removed. Smart shopping campaigns can be very good and very bad from operational standpoint. The hindrance is you're leaning on Google completely, their artificial intelligence, to optimize the campaigns for you, which is good. But the hindrance is that, because Google's smart and it knows everything about everybody, the hindrance is that you don't really know anything about the traffic that's coming in. You're completely in the dark. They don't provide you any information about keywords, any placements, interactions, user types, audience info, nothing. So you're not really building anything from that perspective either. I won't know if this spectacular ROAS that this smart shopping campaign is giving me has 90% past purchasers. I have absolutely no idea who is in that bucket of people at all. And as a result, I'm not able to have any control over whether I want to scale and whether I'll be able to scale or not. On a controlled shopping campaign, I can see everything. I can see all the engagements, what the audiences are, I know what the exclusions are, I know how much is net new customers, how many are past purchasers, all that kind of stuff. The problem with smart shopping campaigns is, like, sometimes we'll do an audit and say, well, these guys use smart shopping, it's kind of lazy, like they're not really working on it. But sometimes smart shopping just performs better. It can be challenging to scale, but it for some reason just does better than whatever we can come up with. It's not very common, but sometimes it does happen. So we want to be careful when we're talking too much and throwing too much shade on smart shopping, because it can be very effective for the right brands as well. A few things that we cannot do on Facebook that we can do with Google is competitor campaigns. And I love talking about competitor campaigns, at least because most brands haven't tried it, haven't even been discussed it discussed it with their agency. That basically works like if I type in Nike Air sneakers and I want to go buy some Nike Airs, and Adidas ads show up. That means Adidas is buying traffic on the keyword Nike sneakers or something to that effect and displaying on top. Now, the chances of me deciding when I search Nike Air sneakers to buy and then saying, you know what, I am gonna buy some Adidas instead, are probably really low, because there's a lot of brand loyalty there, and I'm specifically searching for the product I want to buy. I'm right at the bottom of the funnel, and I'm going to go ahead and buy it. As another example of a good time to use a competitor campaign might be an industry like pest control, or some sort of service industry like electricians or something like that, where brand loyalty is low and they're just wanting someone to come out to their house right away, so they're going to call 5 or 6 companies and see who they can get out there. That's the time where it's like, I don't care if it's Clark Pest Control or John's Pest Control. I just need the guy who's going to pick the phone up, or the gal who's going to pick the phone up and get out here, so that I can go ahead and get this problem solved. The loyalty element. What's fun about being able to talk about it even briefly in an audit is that most of the time accounts haven't done it. A, and B, you get the answers quick. I know there's not a lot of variables. It's just you put the competitors in and your ads either convert or they don't. We're not in a situation where there's 150 keywords and then we're eliminating 100 and we got 50 winners. No, it's either like, hey, let's throw the competitors in there, and people are either willing to buy from your brand while they were searching for another or not. Branded terms is another hot button topic, I would say, for Google. That is when you bid on your own name. Just like we talked about for competitors, it means that you're bidding on your own name, protecting it in an effort to be at the top, in first position for your own name. And that makes sense for brands because their conversion rate, if someone's typing in Nike Air sneakers, the chances of them buying Nike Air sneakers from Nike's website are extremely high. So the conversion rate is going to be insane. So you can go ahead and pay to be right at the top for that type of search term. So there's situations where it'll be Nike and then several ads in between, Go or Adidas, and then back to the Nike organic search rankings. So that's why we call it brand protection, because Nike in that situation is protecting its position for those. It's helping the person who's looking for their site get to their site as conveniently as possible, because again, they're right at the bottom of the funnel, and the last thing we want right at the bottom of the funnel is to not have spent $3 to Google search in order to secure the sale, because what's $3 if they're right about to buy it and then Zappos sneaks an ad in and takes it and they buy it from them instead. That's not the goal. We want to, because the margins are going to be better on your site, you want to make sure you secure as many of those sales as you can. And again, the percentages of ad spend for branded search is very, very low relative to overall marketing efforts. It's just about protecting the brand. Some of the problems that come in with branded search terms is your industry. You have to be conscious of your industry. Do you even need branded search terms? Is there heavy competition? Do you need to protect? Is anyone buying on your name? These are all things to consider when going through the process. When it gets concerning is if we see people spending too much on branded search terms. If you are peppering in branded search terms into what's supposed to be a prospecting campaign, your ROAS is going to look a lot better. But that client's going to have absolutely no idea what their customer acquisition cost is. They got no idea because it's tainted data. Yes, it's possible that a new customer could have found the brand at the gym and then searched them by brand name, but the likelihood of that happening is much lower than it is that they were pixeled or actively searching for that brand because they're conscious of it and they want to buy that brand. So when we see audits come in and there's branded search sloppily thrown throughout campaigns, it's just an effort to make the ROAS look better due to client ignorance. And we point that stuff out, make those changes, and things improve dramatically. Sometimes we'll just take accounts over, and early on, we'll just remove some of these audiences if it's Facebook, like past purchasers that might be in there that shouldn't, or extend the time frame from excluding 30 days up to 180 or something like that, or just take a few of the branded terms out of the campaigns and move them into their own campaign. And then the campaigns have to totally readjust, because Google had already optimized for branded term delivery, and now they have to recalibrate the spend across all these other keywords, and it creates opportunities for spend distribution that didn't exist before. It's a tremendous game changer for overall ROAS, because there's efficiency in spend that's achieved through branded search being in a confined budget now, and other keywords that are bringing new customers and new sales in grows the LTV audience and has a chance to bring you even more revenue down the line, and defines more clearly the customer acquisition cost, making scale easier. If I own a business, I want to know what my new customer acquisition cost is, so I can define a budget, make good product orders, run my business successfully. I don't need to know that your ROAS is at 4x if it's really at 2.5. Just give me the information accurately so I can make good informed business decisions. That's the kind of the mindset that we have. It's about providing accurate information to these business owners so they feel confident in the data that we're looking at and how they're achieving these sales. And if it is what it is, it's not that somebody else is going to come in and do better than us, because there's no one better than us. It's about separating the information so it's clear and accurate, so you can make confident moves. That's really what it's about. Okay, that is the talk on Google. That's our overall mindset, kind of philosophy with Google, how we look at it, how we talk to clients about it, how we talk to prospects about it, and generally what we think about it as a platform and whether it's possible to scale on there, grow, and be successful, all that.